Welcome to Jets Rewind and JetsRewind.com. It's Thursday. It's January 6, 2022. It's our first show of the new year. And I am joined by Ray Clifford, and Ralph Schrager is making a rare appearance. How are you guys doing?
My parole board has allowed me this to do this.
Okay. I like that. Okay. Now, meanwhile, Ralph, I came up with a little trivia. Took your job, okay?
Oh my gosh.
It's not a hard one. And here it is. You ready, Ray?
Yep.
All right. Of course, Braxton Berrios has been the flavor of the month for a few weeks. And I hear on the radio a lot of people comparing him to Wayne Corbett. Not me. A lot of these people are. So I have a Wayne Corbett question, okay? How many times did Wayne Corbett have at least 75 catches or more in one season?
Oh, I'll say 6.
Well, you'd have to say it now. We're going to save it for the end.
I wanted to get it in before Ray.
All right, Ralph, we're going to have to turn up the volume, I think.
Oh, I can't find the damn volume.
Okay. Anyway, I just want to give some final thoughts on the Tampa Bay game. And I've gone around in circles, and you guys were right and I was wrong. At the time of the game, I thought they should have went for the field goal, but it really that didn't do anything. And the fact that they went for it made sense, just because if you think that if they missed it, they had to go 93 yards instead of 75 yards. With Tom Brady, it might not have made a difference with it, which it didn't, but that was the right move. And also, I just want to mention that I was so emotional that day. I went bananas over that signed football with Eccles, but I'm fine with it now. It just, it's no big deal. So what? He did it. And Tom Brady said it's the last time it's going to happen. It still stings, that game, because it was so winnable. And today, Mike LaFleur, he said it was 100% on him. It's just such a goddamn stupid mistake.
You know what? I don't see anything wrong with having options on any play.
Ralph, what they did, though, is this. He's a rookie quarterback. They sucked him in. They moved the guy out.
I know they did. Yeah, exactly.
And that's the safest play. So that's what he's going to do. And they sucked him in, and then at the last, and they moved him back in.
Right. Yeah.
And nothing was there. And now I'll say this, because Ray and I have spoke about it. Everyone says that the reverse would have worked. There's no guarantee.
No.
Because even if it looks open, because Ralph, a few weeks ago, they did this fake field goal. Did you know?
I saw it.
And Ray and I both thought.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to make it.
Yeah, but then they closed it so quick.
Right,
so there's no guarantee.
No, they could mishandle the handoff. Obviously it's nothing is a guarantee and everything.
But quarterback sneak for anything over a yard is a stupid move, Ralph.
No, it is a stupid move. So he'll learn, okay? Just like Trevor Lawrence learned not to spike the ball at that point in the game.
I don't know if that was him or it was through his headset. Whatever it was, it's the dumbest move. And Ray, I spoke to you while we're talking on the Tampa Bay game. Did you guys review his run at the end before that play? Down the left sideline?
Whose run?
Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, no.
Oh, that one.
I thought he took.
Thought he could go in, right? Yeah.
Well, he could have tried it at least. That's what I thought. So, but those are my
time or something. Yeah, whatever. I don't care about Jacksonville. The great thing about them is they're worse than the Jets.
Yeah. My problem with that last play call wasn't it was that they didn't intend him to have options. So why didn't you just straight out call a reverse instead of giving one where he's got to think about it? That was my big problem with it. This is what we're running so that there's no confusion at all. And if you are doing it that way, why aren't you telling him straight up, okay, we aren't doing an option. You're giving the ball to Berrios. That was my problem with that. But if he didn't make it, I just would have been less upset with that than I was. And until, after the game, I didn't even know that wasn't what they actually called, because I was too busy screaming at the TV and calling LaFleur every name in the book, but I didn't know there was even an option. I thought they flat out called a 2-yard quarterback sneak. They got blown up quite easily. So,
well, they could have gotten Jerry Kramer in the uniform, and
yeah,
I would have called, and then I would have called that play.
Yeah.
yeah.
Ralph, did you have any other thoughts? Oh, Ray, I'm sorry.
No, I'm okay with everything about that game until that call.
Right.
So I'm
Well,
upset that we lost the way we lost. But
Ray, we're not okay, you and me. We discussed the 3rd and 20.
yeah,
We discussed no
You
pressure.
have to have one of those every game.
No pressure
it
on
wouldn't be the
Brady.
Jet game if they didn't get some humongous
No-
third down conversion.
No pressure on Brady.
No.
And going 93 yards right down the field. It's just sickening.
Oh man, Marty, you are such a half-empty guy under the glass. I mean, look at the talent that they had out there.
Oh, you're right.
It's the greatest quarterback in the history of the game. I mean, come on. It's
well,
like,
I'll give you a stat I heard today, which was interesting. 26% of the Jets' salary cap is on the injured reserve, leading the NFL.
well, I mean, look, everyone's got injuries.
It is
but
what it
the
is.
Jets this year are ridiculous. I mean, starting with Carl Lawson, it just hasn't ended. And for a team that's undermanned to begin with, I was amazed that they stuck with him. I think part of it was probably that Tampa Bay came in a little overconfident and probably flat. But they gave a good account of themselves.
Yeah, they did. But Ray could tell you, Ralph, I'm just the biggest sore loser in the world. And I don't care. Let the Patriots win a division. I'm going to be rooting for the Jets this Sunday up in Buffalo. I just can't help it. All right. Now, I want to
let me ask you one question, Mark.
Yes.
Here's your choice. Would you rather the Jets win the game on Sunday and Wilson look terrible, or they lose the game and Wilson look really good?
I want him to win.
What about
I just
you,
want to
Ray?
win. That's all I want to do is win.
I would, especially in that game, I would have taken the win.
I just
against Brady. And
No, I'm talking about the Buffalo game.
yeah.
Oh, the Buffalo.
If they play
coming up.
Buffalo, would you rather them win and Wilson look terrible?
I
or
want,
they
at
lose?
this point, I'd rather have him. I'd rather have Wilson continue to look better and better.
Sure.
I want him to win. I think
I want him to, but it won't bother me at all if they don't.
nothing
He looks good.
nothing changes a culture better than winning. And I really believe that it's
But we're past that point this year. There's no culture changing.
Well,
This.
you're right. When Parcells took over the Jets, he won all 4 exhibition games the first year because he said he wanted the team to learn how to win games no matter what. I agree with you, Marty.
Next year.
Yeah.
well, Ralph, if you like me and you follow Parcells, Ray follows Parcells, I follow both Parcells and Belichick. Those guys don't want to lose any game. They don't care if it's exhibition, if they're coaching the Senior Bowl, whatever. They want to win every game they're coaching. I know that about those two
I'm sure
guys.
a lot of coaches feel that way instinctively. Yeah. I mean, remember the Jets' reaction when they tied Philly in the last preseason game? It was like they had won a regular season game. It was,
Kenny Yeboah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't disagree with you, Marty. I think winning's important, but we're down to the last game of the year. I don't think whatever they do Sunday isn't going to affect them going into next year. You wipe the slate clean and you start fresh.
I want to win.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I'm not saying
I'm not saying you shouldn't want.
I'm not saying I'm right either, Ray. I know. All right, look. All we've been hearing, this I want to ask you both. Are we drinking too much of the Braxton Berrios Kool-Aid right now? I'm hearing numbers like 4 years, $28 million, $24 million. Ralph, I mean, he's playing really good and he's valuable. But Ralph, you taught me a few weeks ago that these slot receivers aren't that uncommon to get. So if you held a gun to my head and say, listen, would you sign him 4 years, $24 million? Or if you had a choice, or Jamison Crowder, 2 years, $12 million, what would you do?
I liked his kick and punt returning ability. I think that definitely makes him a more valuable player than just a slot receiver. I mean, you talked about Wayne Corbett. I think if Braxton Berrios were on the Patriots 10 years ago instead of Wes Welker, I think he would have gotten some really good numbers. He's a
I
very
agree.
similar, more similar to Welker than he is to Corbett. And another thing I love about Braxton Berrios, he's a tough SOB. He goes
Yeah.
over the middle, catches the ball, unlike Jeff Smith and a lot, or Denzel
And
Mims.
pretty much every other receiver we have.
Ray,
Yeah.
Ray, he's on my bum list. I just want to tell you that. I'm off the
Which one?
Jeff Smith. He's a bum.
Oh, Jeff. Okay.
He's just not good. Alligator arms. He's terrible.
You know, you throw those numbers out. I think he's worth signing, and I think he's worth giving some money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ray, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, he'll easily get that in the free agent market. Yeah, we're gonna have to sign him. And he like Ralph said, he's not just a slot receiver. His punt return and kick returning ability is a game changer. The way he
and he's so dependable.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Mike, for
He doesn't
years,
drop
look
it.
at these punt returners.
Right.
Like you just like you're cringing whenever they
Yeah,
pretty
well-
much and pretty much every time he decides to actually run it back, he gets yards. He
does.
rarely
I agree.
gets backward.
And
And the cap is going up, so we're gonna
Yeah.
have cap room.
And don't forget, we have to pay CJ Mosley like 18 million this year too.
What's the deal with him? Did his COVID year count against his
No.
contract?
Whatever it is, he's got one more
moved it
year.
back a year. Yeah.
One more year,
didn't.
17, 18 million. If they cut him, it's a $22 million cap hit. So they're going to keep.
Well, I want him back. He's
Yeah, I do
helpful,
too.
man.
He's good. No, he's really good. I mean, he had a couple of bad games. Ralph, there's one point where I said to Ray, he reminded me of a baseball accumulator, where at the end of the game, his stat sheet looked great, but he didn't really make great plays.
Yeah.
But that was about 2 or 3 games. He's done really, really well. He really has. But last thing on Barrios, the one guy, one of my all-time favorite Jets, who was only with him for a cup of coffee, Jim Leonard, was the best punt catcher I ever saw in my life as far as hands. I'm not saying returning them. He was just so sure on every single punt.
Barrios is in that category.
He is.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. I
He's
agree.
way more dangerous.
Yeah.
Right. And the fact that he developed a chemistry with Zach Wilson, I think that carries some weight.
Yeah. I just like the guy's attitude. I think he's a good guy to have on a team. He's like,
He's pretty smart. Apparently, Ray and Ralph, he was valedictorian at the University of Miami his senior
which,
year.
I don't know what that means. but we'll give it to him anyway.
Ray, one time I lost contact with Ralph for a couple of years, and he knows the story. So when I run into him, we're both on the basketball courts, University of Miami, playing like 3-on-3 basketball. I hadn't seen him in like 5 years.
Yeah, I felt this guy box me out, and I go, "Oh my God, is this Wesley Unseld?"
Yeah.
It was
All right, on to the next item.
That's good.
Yeah, I want to name a few guys. You guys tell me if you think they're back next year. We'll start with Ray. All right, here we go, Ray. This guy
Ray is not going to be back next year.
He's up and down. So you give me an answer, Ray, then Ralph, then I'll go to Ralph. Okay, here we go, Ray. Ty Johnson.
Right now, I'll say yeah.
Ralph?
Yeah, I think he'll come back.
Yeah. That game when he had the 3 drops, it really stung a lot of people. But
He was on the bum list.
right. All right, Ralph, tight end Tyler Croft.
Yeah, I think he'll be back.
Wow. Ray?
Yeah, I think he'll be back. I don't think the other 2 will be. Meaning Brown or
They
Brown
must
or
have given him
Griffin.
more than 1 year, so
I think Yeboah's got to make a move and get on the roster.
Well, everyone thinks they're going to draft one, and with these 4, I don't think it'll be one of the top 4 picks. Though.
Okay.
I don't think they need to get one that high, but
Here we go, Ray. Kyle Phillips, kind of utility defensive end.
Well, I don't. Jeez. Right now, yeah, why not? I don't know who will be back. We have so many guys between the injured list and everything. It's hard to say. If I were to say we have to get rid of one, he wouldn't be the name that comes up for me.
Okay, Ralph.
You know, I don't think he'll be back. I think they'll draft one high, and I think Lawson will come back.
I agree with Ralph. I just think he can't do any better than he's done. He'll get a sack once every 3 or 4 games, and you'll see his number. But I really don't think he's coming back. All right, Ralph, Chuma Adoga,
No, I don't think he's coming back.
Ray.
Yeah, I think we need. I mean, I'd rather have him back than Feeney, or even though Feeney did well at center.
Feeney did
but-
pretty good. This is a
Yeah.
big week for Feeney. I'll be honest
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
It really is. It's amazing how and I'll tell you, the offensive line coach Benton deserves a ton of credit
Yeah.
for what he's done since like the first 3 or 4 games. All right, Ray.
Man, Roten.
Well, no, I'm not him, but ready. Connor McDermott, is he back?
Connor McDermott. Yeah. Somebody's got to go, but I'll say, yeah, he'll be back. I think Feeney will be gone, and I think Van Roten's going to be gone.
All right, Ralph.
I think they'll draft an interior lineman with one of those.
Oh, yeah, I
They
do.
will.
picks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connor McDermott. Oh, that's a tough one, Marty. I'll say yes. He'll be back.
I think he's going to be back just because he caught that touchdown pass.
Yeah. Why not?
Ralph, you guys remember
It's a threat.
Battle? What's his name, Ralph? The guy.
Mike Battle. Yeah.
Mike Battle. He returned
Punt return in exhibition game.
exhibition game punt returning against the Giants for the touchdown. Kept him in the NFL for 5 years.
Yeah.
He never did anything else after that.
Well, look at Steve O'Neill. You know, Steve O'Neill had that one punt. They added it to his total every year to put his average.
Right. I have a friend that's been. He calls me up and he keeps telling me about this punter on Rutgers. It's supposed to be
Oh, I want to hear about a
best
punter on
punter in the
college.
world. All right, okay. Last one. All right, this is a rough one.
They're all
Wow.
rough.
You ready?
No. Okay.
Is he back next year? Jeff Ulbrich.
Yeah, I think he is. I want them all to come back. I'm tired of this flip turnover. I think they have to have some continuity for 2 or 3 years. You know, he lost a lot of players. I don't think it was a good year for him, but I want them all back. I don't want this turnover. I'm tired of this team.
Ray?
Yeah, he'll be back. I don't think Salah's going to get rid of anybody. I mean, I think he let LaFleur have it this past week after the game, but he ain't going to do it publicly. And I think for the most part, he's got their back. He'd have had to been worse than he's been to
Right.
have him fire him.
You know, it's funny. You mentioned it too. It's Mike LaFleur has the most secure job in the NFL because, you know, Matt LaFleur and our coach are like so close. It's unbelievable. They were like best man at one of the weddings, and they talk to each other every game. When our coach was in COVID in the hospital, he was on the phone with LaFleur because LaFleur's TV. Our coach, what's our coach's name? Salah's TV had like a 3-second delay. So LaFleur's TV in Green Bay didn't, and he would tell him what was going on before it happened too. And he
Like
told
I'm
him,
talking to you.
yeah, it's like, that's right. Ray calls. So I think he's got the most secure job in the NFL, Mike LaFleur. All right, I want to skip to one item because it's been all over the news today. Nothing to do with the Jets. Baker Mayfield hinted he wants to get traded. Ralph, I speak to Ray like every other week. We have a little Baker Mayfield talk. I happen to like the guy. I don't know if I just enjoy his commercials or what, but I was just curious if he demanded a trade. What do you guys see? What is his trade value right now?
Well, they aren't going to get a bunch of firsts for him, but I think they could easily get at least as much as Sam got. I think when he's healthy, he's productive. I don't know that he's ever going to be elite, but I think he's productive if he's in the right system and he's healthy.
So Mayfield to me is his personality. I think some people just think he's a loose cannon and it's trouble. You know, he doesn't wear well.
Yeah, well, yeah, and he's I had told Ray because it was all over. He got a number of death threats out in Cleveland before the last game. And Ralph, I said to Ray, this is just the beginning, because with all this legalized gambling, you're going to see death threats all over the place in sports. It's just going to go, it's going to be an epidemic.
Well, remember, in Cleveland, there were very high expectations this year. So that, they are really unhappy with him and just in general, because they aren't even making the playoffs, much less, challenging for the Super Bowl.
Right. The guy was playing hurt the last 10 games.
He was, but my understanding was those a couple of them 4 picks weren't because of his shoulder. They were lousy throws. I mean, I didn't watch the game, so I don't know, but you throw 4 picks, you can't blame it all on your shoulder. You're gonna, you've got to make plays. And he, even other, his other years when he was healthy, he'd go, he was kind of up and down. He'd play great for stretches, and then he'd have a few real stinkers and be just very terrible. So he's always been a little up and down. So it wasn't just this year. That I think this year was just the culmination because of the expectations.
Right.
For people who jump to conclusions about rookie quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones both had really good rookie years, and they haven't really matched it since then. And Josh Allen had a terrible rookie year. So, the guys this year, I know Mac Jones has had a solid year. I'm not a big believer in him. I think he's a product of the system they have here. But 2 years from now, things will, I think, it'll be a lot different with Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Fields. I think people they forget very quickly.
Ralph, what you just said was interesting. Do you think some of these guys have good years because there's no tape on them? Is that
I think it's the interesting thing. You look at Mac Jones, and he was cruising along, and then suddenly he played against 2 good teams that knew how, were smart enough and capable enough of exposing him, and he was horrible. And then last week he cleaned up against the worst team in the world. I give him credit. He reads. He's got a lot of poise, and he's accurate. But like I said to Marty Ray on the phone the other day, if he played for the Jets this year, he'd be worse than
he'd have been killed.
He'd getting killed because how many sacks has Wilson avoided every game?
I know.
It's
Ray. Ralph and I used to have this argument because I used to tell him I can't sleep because this Danny Woodhead is doing so good. And he said, Marty, he would never do that good on the Jets.
I always said the same thing.
He said, don't beat yourself up. Remember that, Ralph? He said, he's never going to be that type of player. He just fits in with the Patriots. All right.
Well, yeah, but Marty, you remember earlier in the year we were talking about how well he does. And you actually said, I think maybe we should have drafted him. And I said, remember, Zach Wilson's coming from a wide open offense in the West, and Mac Jones spent 4 years under a coach who runs a pro style offense with pro level players. I mean, he was about as pro ready coming out as anybody could be. These other guys have to kind of, more than Mac Jones, get used to the speed of the players he's playing with and against, and learn more of a pro style offense. So, he had a lot less of a learning curve than Zach.
Right. To me, Mac Jones, his ceiling is Chad Pennington. That to me, which isn't bad.
No.
Ralph, Ray will not forgive me that I predicted the Patriots at Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. He will not let it go.
That's a real sexy pick, Marty, but it's not going to happen.
All right, listen.
This is why Buffalo's got to win this week.
Okay. No, listen, the Jets right now have the 4th pick and the 7th pick.
Hey, let me just ask you something. The Giants have the same record, yet the Jets pick ahead of them. I would assume the Jets had a tougher schedule. I'm surprised.
I don't know. These tiebreakers and strength of schedule, I just get confused. I just don't get it. Ray was telling me about a scenario the other day. Remember, Ray, we were talking about it?
Yeah.
You said the Jets, they had what was that scenario where they had?
I don't remember how many years ago it was. We were drafting. It might have been the year we traded with the Saints for what's his name. I can't remember now, but
Richard Neal.
we played.
Richard Neal.
Yes, Richard Neal.
Yeah.
We played the team that had the same record as us, but they beat us. And then they drafted behind us, and I couldn't understand that. I was
head to head is not the first.
no, it's not even a. It's not even a.
No, the tiebreaker is strength of schedule. If you have the tougher your strength of schedule, the lower you're going to pick.
Yeah.
All right.
But why wouldn't head to head determine if you picked a head? And it wasn't like the end of the year where anybody was tanking either.
Yeah.
But Ralph, doesn't head-to-head matter for the playoffs? Or like home
Oh, it matters for
Oh,
the
yeah.
playoffs, not draft.
Okay.
Order.
I got you. All right. The Jets right now draft 4th and 7th. Realistically, and we're going to get more into the draft, in a few weeks. This is kind of unofficial. I just want you guys to tell me your feeling about, and some of the players in the top 10, who you like. I'll go first. And again, I still think I'm going to get into like the quarterback crazy theory, but there's something else that came up I want to get into. I think the Jets have to go defense, but also I really believe they have to go for a wide receiver. Unlike years ago, I just think people are getting wide receiver crazy, and I might as well mention it now. I think they're wide receiver crazy, 2 reasons. The first is when they traded Stefon Diggs for like 2 draft picks, everybody thought they were nuts. And between him and the quarterback's development, that turned that franchise around. And the second thing is this year, the Cincinnati Bengals with this 3-headed monster, I've never seen anything like it. And I just think teams are going to go crazy for wide receivers, just like they went crazy for quarterbacks. Now, this year is an anomaly because you have a lot of edge pass rushers, but I'm predicting between 4 and 6 wide receivers are going to go in the first round. And I just want to know your thoughts on that. Then we'll get to the Jets picks. Ralph?
I mean, there have been a lot of wide receivers taken in the last couple of years, a lot in the first 2 rounds. So that wouldn't surprise me at all if the talent is out there. I really haven't sat down and started studying it closely yet. I know you like the kid from Alabama. I think Olave is probably not a number 1. I think he's good, but I don't think he's a number 1. I don't know. Ray would probably know more about him but yeah.
Well, what do you think? What do you think about Garrett Wilson then? Is he a number 1?
I don't know. I'm not ready to
Okay.
give you opinion on those guys yet, Marty. I'm still not recovering from that quarterback sneak.
All right, Ray, what's your feeling about the wide receivers? Am I just blowing air, or do you think there's some truth to that it's become so popular?
Well, yeah, it's a passing league now, and more so than ever. And yeah, I could see us making a run at one, but my problem is I think we definitely need another offensive lineman, and I think that we got to take care of the defensive side of the ball again. I mean, I think there's more holes on the defense. So, but if they were to make a run at a wide receiver, I'd be okay with that. But I don't want it to be at the expense of a top-notch offensive lineman or maybe even a top DB if there is one available. I don't know which, but
Okay.
I just think we need them both badly.
All right. Well, then let me come to you first, Ray, as we enter the 4th quarter. With the 4th and 7th pick, you're familiar with some of the top 10 players, top 15. Have you looked at it yet? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any in mind who you would like? That's realistic.
Well, mostly, and I did kind of read up on that kid from Alabama, the edge rusher. He's a sophomore. He's got another year, so
yeah, no,
he won't be in the draft. I thought maybe he was a redshirt sophomore.
No. He's going to be a number 1 pick next.
No such luck. And they were referring to Hutchinson as very possibly the number 1 overall. And I wasn't that. I like that guy, but I'm not sure he's that good. But I haven't really like Ralph. I haven't really delved into the offensive lineman. I know because I get to see him up close, though. Olave or Wilson will both be top 10 picks in my opinion.
Top 10.
I believe so. The way
Really?
they pick,
Wow.
I think Wilson will. I think Olave would be 10 to 15.
well, that could be too. Olave might be just outside the top 10. He's got better hands, but Wilson's more dynamic and more versatile. So Wilson is more of a threat in different ways than Olave. Olave is just a receiver with great hands, but he hasn't got the speed of Wilson, or he'd be probably a top 5 pick if he was that fast.
So Ray, if he was available, he's the highest rated offensive lineman. Would you take Evan Neal, the guy from Alabama?
I wouldn't have a problem with it. Now,
Ralph?
is he a tackle or is he a
He's a
guard?
tackle.
He's a left tackle. He's
Left
huge.
tackle.
He's
Well,
huge, like Marty's best friend.
Well,
He-
but he's built differently, Ralph. If you look at him, though, he is.
I want
big.
to know what's between his ears. That's
All right,
That's
around.
what I want built
What would
differently.
you take at the 4th pick at this point?
It's funny. A lot of the mocks have them going for this safety, Kyle Hamilton, and I think
I
they're
can't
not doing.
see-
There's no way he's going to do that. He doesn't
No.
value the
Not that.
position,
No.
and these people aren't doing their research. I like the kid from Purdue.
I like
think,
him a lot too.
I think he reminds me, Ray, of the Bosa brothers. Similar
Mhm.
size. He can play inside or outside, and he's got
Yeah.
a motor. I would be comfortable with him. Stingley makes me a little nervous because he.
I don't want him. I don't want to.
Yeah. Booth from Clemson is another one. The kid from Florida, Elam or whatever his name is. He's another corner that. But I think more position right now than specific players. I think for the first 4 picks, I think they have to get an edge rusher, a cornerback, and an offensive lineman. And the 4th one, that could be like a wild card. It could be a wide receiver, or tight end, or whatever. But I think they're going to go with those 3 because those are positions that he values. Who specifically? It depends, I guess, who goes before them.
I think they need a wide receiver. I would pick the guy from Purdue, Karlaftis. I like him. I would pick Garrett Wilson, my next pick, unless they can move down, maybe, and get the guy from Alabama,
Alabama.
receiver.
Wasn't he from Ohio State originally?
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
Do you remember him
God,
at Ohio
yeah.
State, Ray?
Yeah, he did. He was behind guys. That's kind of why he left.
Unbelievable.
Oh, hey, Ralph, just for a second.
Factory.
Did you see the
Rose
Rose Bowl?
Bowl.
Did you see the
Rose
Rose
Bowl?
Bowl?
Who was in that?
Ohio State,
in Jigba.
Utah.
Oh, no, I didn't. I'd
Okay.
like to have seen that.
One of the best games you ever saw in your life. It was unbelievable,
Yeah.
end to end. It was just.
I will. I am, even though I'm here, I am tempering things a little because he didn't play against the best DB, even on that team, much less in college football.
Right,
So
I understand.
as
Who
good
is
as he
that?
looked, I'm still excited for next year to see if
Who are you
he's
talking
really
about?
good. And Jigba, Jackson and Smith and Jigba for Ohio State,
Wide receiver, he just ate it up.
and like
Broke all touchdowns.
300 and some yards receiving, and I can't remember how he catches.
All right, listen, we're going to close this out, but we're going to go back to the trivia question. Anything you want
Well,
to?
I didn't even give you my. I didn't give you my.
Yeah, I
I
want.
didn't know you had one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I emailed
said,
it to
yeah.
you. Yeah, boy,
Yeah.
Marty, you're off your
I
game
didn't see
today.
it. Go ahead.
What Jet head coach in his first year coaching had the best record for a Jet first year head coach? I'll give you a hint. It's a tie.
Grow is one of them.
No.
Herm Edwards.
Herm Edwards is one of them.
And man, genius.
That's right. That's 2, and there's a third one.
Oh,
The best of all,
Weeb.
Parcells.
Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
and,
Yeah.
What was their record for Todd
10 and
Bowles?
6.
10 and 6.
Oh, and
yeah.
Parcells was 9 and 7.
9 and
7.
9. So was Ryan 9 and 7, and so was Al Groh 9 and 7.
Al Groh was 9 and 7. Okay.
And
all
Lou
right.
Holtz was 3 and 10.
Oh, okay.
Before he quit.
Okay. My trivia question, people, like I said, comparing Braxton Berrios to Wayne Corbett. So this is a Wayne Corbett question. How many times did Wayne Corbett have at least 75 catches or more?
So
I'm
we
gonna-
all
I'm
know
gonna-
Ralph. We know
I'm gonna-
Ralph. So
I'm changing my opinion. I'm gonna go 4.
I'm going to go 5. staying with what I said.
Well, guys, I'm sorry. He only had it twice.
Yeah, I have
Wow.
a feeling it was low.
In
That's like-
1996, he had
Yeah.
84 receptions. But his best year was probably 1998. He had 75 receptions, but it's the only time he went over 1,000 yards, 1,083, and he had his highest yards per reception. And plus, he tied his career high with 8 TDs. So that is the question. He did it twice.
Let
All
me,
right.
wait, Martin, before you finish, the question I asked has a moral to it, because I know some people can't think Sal is a bust already.
Oh no,
Yeah.
he's not.
I just want to list you quickly 5 of the greatest coaches of all time. Their first year as a head coach: Tom Landry, 0-11 and 1 tie.
I know that. Yeah.
Jimmy
Chuck
Johnson.
Noll, 1-13. That got him Terry Bradshaw. Bill Walsh, 2-14. Bill Parcells, 3-12 and 1, and Jimmy Johnson, 1-15. So it took them there. They all kicked in like their 3rd year. That's when the team started really doing it.
Right.
So
Well,
we got to give them a couple of years.
It's a different time, of course. But
It
Ralph,
is. There's no patience anymore. It
right.
drives me crazy.
Now, Ralph, you haven't been on a few weeks. You like Salah?
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
I love the
I think
guy
he grows.
personally. I don't know if he's got what it takes to be a really good head coach, but I'm not saying he can't be. It's too soon at this point.
Hey, all right. One last thing before you close out, Marty, because we didn't touch on it at all. And I was driving back home today and had
Quickly.
NFL Network on, and Bart Scott was on there, and
Oh,
you didn't
again?
touch on the 3 idiots. Anybody agree with what they said?
I don't know what I watched those guys
And they're doubling down on it.
It came out of nowhere. I don't know what they're talking about. I just don't get it.
They just think he wanted to be the hero.
And I got kudos to Brian Costello because he wrote an article
defended it.
refuting everything.
Yeah, I saw
defending
that
Wilson.
too.
So that's good. All right, we
But
got to
it's
close
moving
this
now.
out. So until next time, for Jets Rewind and JetsRewind.com, Ralph Schrager, Ray Clifford, and Marty Shupak.